Hey, what is up, and welcome back. Hello. It's going to be the walkthrough for the solving quadratic practice test. If you were in class today, you might want to skip ahead slightly because I'm going to do this problem again. 1 and 48, 2 and 24, 3 and 16. That adds up to 19. Getting close. I need to add up to negative 16. Well, that's only going to work if these are both negative. Will they still multiply to 48? Yeah, because negative times a negative is a positive. Can I get 4, 12? Yeah, negative 4, negative 12. There we go. But then the solutions are 4, positive 4, because positive 4 minus 4 equals 0. And 0 times whatever equals 0, which is what we want. We're trying to get it to equal 0. Well, 4 will work, or 12 will work. And now we need to graphulate this. So we're going to grab the c term, which is the y-intercept, 0, 48, and then the 4 and the 12, 4 comma 0, 12 comma 0, and yes, you need to put those 3 points, and that's all I'm checking for. The parabola can be ugly, or squiggly. As long as you have your points labeled. I don't think we did this one in class. So 24, 1 and 24, or 2 and 12, or 3 and 8. Oh, 3 and 8. That adds up to 11. (0, 24). Oh, but the solutions are negative 3 is what will make this 0, or negative 8. Yay, boom. Okay, got a tricky one. Negative 1, 24, times together is 24, or negative 24 and 1. Negative 2 and 12, or negative 12 and 2. Negative 3 and 8, or negative 8 and 3. Negative 4 and 6, or negative 6 and 4. Which of these adds up to 5, combines up to 5? That's 23, 10, 5. Okay, we got it. 8 is positive. But x equals negative 8 or positive 3. Should have made the box bigger. Okay, opposite of B. So it says show your setup and simplification steps for each problem, and then on the test it says show how to simplify the radical, or the root. So start plugging in the formula. Opposite of B, plus or minus, square root of B squared, minus 4. I wish I was better at just multiplying this out, but I'm bad at it, so I gotta write it out. That's alright. It's just show your setup. So this is my setup. 2 times A is 2. And let's start simplifying. 4 times 50 is 200. 100 minus 200 is negative 100. Okay, now here's where we need to show how to simplify the radical. negative 1 times 100. You can break this down a bunch of different ways. 10 and 10 is the easiest way. And then a pair makes a square, so the square roots out as a 10. And the negative 1 square roots out as a 9. So we have negative 10 plus or minus 10 comes out and an I. And lastly, this gets divided by 2, and this gets divided by 2. Oh. Ta-da. Okay, opposite of B. B is 1. So opposite of B is negative 1. B squared, 1 squared is 1, minus 4 times 3 times negative 4 over 2a, which is 6. Let's start simplifying. 4 times 3 is 12, times negative 4 is negative 48, but this is negative 48 minus negative 48. It's like plussing, or you could think of it as two negatives multiplied together makes a positive. Positive 48, 1 plus 48 is 49. Negative 1 plus 7, 6 divided by 6 is 1, 4. Negative 1 minus 7 is negative 8 sixths, or negative 4 thirds, or 1 and negative 1 and 1/3. This is my favorite one. Okay. Because it's already negative 4, so I'm not even on the screen. What is this, class time? Opposite of B. B is negative 4, so 4. Negative 4 squared is 16. If you're doing that in a calculator, make sure you put the negative 4 in the parentheses so that it comes out as 16. If you do this, your calculator will square. If you do this, your calculator will square that and it'll get negative 16, because the exponent is more powerful than the negative sign. So if you want the negative sign to be involved, okay, we've talked about that many times. Let's continue on our merry way. Again, if we change this to a plus negative 4, now we got double negative makes a positive. 16 times 2 is 32. 16 plus 32 is 48. We have 2a. 4 plus or minus the square root of 48 over 4. Now, this is critical. Gotta get this going on. 24 and 2, 12 and 2, 6 and 2, 3 and 2. So we're going to have a 3 left over, but pair, those root out as a 2 and a 2. 2 times 2 is 4. So 4 plus or minus 4 root 3 on 4. What's another way you could do this? Well, you could say, this is 16 times 3. That squares out as a 4. I don't think, yeah, whatever. Now, last step. 1 cancels in this, or is 1, but I don't know how to write a 1. Ta-da! Letitia launches a pumpkin from her pumpkin catapult. At the time the pumpkin is released, it is traveling with a vertical component of velocity of 60 feet per second. So on the test tomorrow, it'll say model, or quadratic model function. You'll have to write h of t equals negative 16 t squared. That's, it says to use negative 16 feet per second for the acceleration due to gravity. There it is. Plus 60 feet per second times t times every second, plus the height. It starts with 30 feet. When is the pumpkin the highest? Okay, always worth drawing a little picture. Here's the pumpkin the highest. It's the axis of symmetry. Opposite of v over 2a. I don't know why I wrote that. Opposite of v is negative 60. 2a is negative 32. This equals 1.8. Grab a Desmos. You'll need 2. Since they're both negative, I'm just going to do both positive because it'll work. 1.875. Seconds. How high is it? Well, if only we had a function that tells you how high things are if you know what time it is. We do have a function. Let's plug it in. Bloop and bloop. And technically, I guess bloop. H of 1.875 equals negative 16 times 1.875 squared plus 60 times 1.875 plus 30. Don't forget to square it. And then multiply it by negative 16. And then tell it to give you a decimal, negative 56.25. That's just the first term. Can't get, oh, there we go. I had to tell my calculator to give me a decimal. I think Desmos gives you decimals automatically. If you don't know how to make your calculator give you a decimal, go Google that right now. Plus 30 plus negative 56. 86.25. Oh man, I should have checked this with some student. I don't know if I'm right. I think this is correct. 1.875. The maximum height is 86.25 feet. When does the pumpkin hit the ground? Going back to our picture, the ground is at 0 height. So we want to know when the height function equals 0. If it equals 0, we can use the formula. Because the formula tells you what the variable is if a trinomial equals 0. There's our trinomial. Let's say it needs to equal 0. And apply the formula. Negative 16 minus the square and 60 squared minus 4 times negative 16 times 30. What a mess. So I'm going to start with this. Negative 4 times negative 16 times 30. I'm going to add that to 3. And I get negative 16 plus or minus the square root of n. Now, could you try to simplify this? You could, but it'll make a mess. You'll end up with a crazy root. Anyway, so we're just going to ask the calculator to take that 4.297. I'm gonna round to the third spot. Maybe we'll round even more when we're done. This equals negative 60 plus or minus 74.297. Okay. Now, we don't want to add because that'll make a positive number, and then we'll divide by a negative number and get a negative amount of time, which is not what we want. So we're actually going to subtract negative 60 minus 74. Divide that by negative 32. 4.20 seconds. Technically, if we're rounding to hundredths. 4.20 seconds.